Hello guys, good morning. This is Amol Khedkar. Today I'll be talking about the article that you see on your screen, which says the US dollar, the final act. Okay, so this is written by Frank Goistra and this is from Kitco magazine. This guy is really very renowned in the world markets and he is like Ray Dalio, okay, who is again a very big hedge fund manager. So I'll go through this article to understand so that you can understand what exactly US dollar can US dollar survive in the near future. So before we get started, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel because I upload these kind of world economy and geopolitical news on a daily basis, and you really don't want to miss out on any of that. So don't forget to subscribe. So let's get started. So I've been seeing this, right? The reserve currency status of the US dollar is in very big jeopardy, and it is really about to collapse pretty soon. Okay, and this guy is making the statement very, very clearly in this article. That's why I wanted to bring this article to you guys. The unthinkable is becoming even more likely. That's what this guy is saying. Okay, the end of US dollar dominance and the beginning of some new form of global monetary system will soon be upon us. It was bound to happen at some point. As I've been saying, like a US dollar printing has been going on by the Federal Reserve for way too long now, and this cannot go on for too long. This is really the end of the tunnel at this point, and once the the steam goes out, then definitely this entire system is going to just blow up. It is going to implode. Okay, it is going to just blow up by itself. It will not need any other outside stimulus. It will just blow up by itself. That's exactly what this guy is trying to say. Okay, the story of reserve currencies is long and stretches far back into ancient times. Okay, but as modern history shows, the average lifespan of reserve assets is just around 100 years. Okay, so the modern lifespan of the reserve assets is just around 100 years. Okay, so cases in point, the French livre and Dutch guilder. So these two were the reserve currencies, the French livre and Dutch guilder, and both of them had a average lifespan of around 100 years. Okay, so that's why if you remember correctly, in 1918 and after the First World War and after the Spanish flu, US dollar became a hegemonic currency, and after that US dominance was felt throughout the entire world. Okay, and now it's almost 100 years, right? So 1920 to 2020, so it's been a good lifespan for a reserve currency like the US dollar, and now we are nearing the end of it. Okay, that's exactly what this guy is saying. The end is always caused by others overspending on wars, overconsumption, excessive debt, and easy credit. Okay, so just look at these four things. Okay, the end is always caused by overspending on wars. I mean, definitely US has been overspending on wars as if there's no tomorrow. I mean, you can look at Korea, Libya, Afghanistan, Venezuela. What else? I mean, US has been at war for almost its entire lifetime. Okay, since the Second World War, US has fought many, many major wars, and it has definitely overspent on wars, no doubt about that. Overconsumption. I mean, I've made videos about these. Okay. US is just a consumer culture. Okay, people are buying things they don't need with the money they don't have. Okay, I've made videos about these. If you want to check them out, do that. And then you have excessive debt. I made video about saying that printing more money is going to destroy the world economy. This is exactly what is happening. Okay, and easy credit. I mean, easy credit is like I've said that Warren Buffett is saying that people in the US have almost 4 to 5 credit cards, and they're just paying one credit card debt with another credit card debt. That's what it means by easy credit. Okay, sure, sounds familiar. Exactly, it sounds familiar. I mean, this is exactly what America has become right now, and that's why this guy is pointing it out. I was asked about this in an interview last summer, and my response was that while it is inevitable, the decline of the US dollar was still many years away. This was before the COVID-19 pandemic that this guy was saying that the decline of US dollar is inevitable. Okay, this is just going to happen. This, you cannot stop this. Okay, this is what has happened for centuries and centuries for different empires, starting from Roman Empire to Byzantine Empire to many other empires. Okay, this is bound to happen. But he said that it was many years away before the COVID-19 pandemic. But now that the pandemic has hit, he's just saying that we are right now at the very end of the US global dominance. Okay, I doubt we will emerge from this calamity and its prolonged economic impact with the current system intact. Why? I will try to put it simply and focus only on the important big picture dynamics. Okay, So now he is going to give you the very detailed idea about why exactly he thinks US dollar is just going to collapse after this. Okay, seemingly overnight, the novel coronavirus has brought the global economy to a standstill, and the US is experiencing unemployment levels not seen since the 1930s. Right, absolutely true. I mean, the unemployment level in America right now is almost around 30 to 35 million, which is just astonishing. You cannot, you cannot get out of that very easily, even after you start reopening tomorrow. Okay, that's just the plain fact. The difference between then and now is the sheer scale of the US government's reaction to the pandemic. Okay, so the sheer scale of the US government's reaction to the pandemic is just extremely different than what it was in the 1930s. Okay, uh, it's unlike anything we have seen in our lifetimes, right? I mean, the Fed and all the other, the Jerome Powell, the Federal Reserve Chairman, all they are doing is just trying to somehow, keep the stock market sustainable so that this entire system just doesn't implode. Okay, but this cannot go on for too long. That's exactly what this guy is saying. In effect, its approach has been to do whatever it takes to ensure the system does not implode. Okay, translation: there is no limit to deficit spending and money printing. This is he is saying it out in the open. Look at this. Okay, there is no limit to deficit spending and money printing. There is absolutely no limit to the so-called quantitative easing that the Fed has been doing. Quantitative easing is just a fancy term for printing money. There's absolutely no other way of saying it. It's just a sophisticated way of saying that. It is an understandable and predictable reaction. Okay, so it is understandable that you need to print money, and it is also predictable. The problem is that we have entered this crisis devoid of the necessary tools needed to rescue the economy without destroying the US currency at the same time. I've said that, if you keep on printing the money, US dollar is just going to collapse. And look at the last wording of this statement. Okay, without destroying the US currency at the same time. Absolutely, the US currency is going to get destroyed because we are printing money as if there's no tomorrow. You are just bailing out corporations. The normal people are just trying to scrape by somehow. So definitely, this is a recipe for disaster. This is a recipe for revolution, and this is a recipe for the entire collapse of the US economic system. Okay, and then new economic system will come up in the near future, but we are far from it at this point. I started writing about this eventuality back in 2001, when the first signs of the kind of monetary and fiscal behavior that would lead to ever increasing moral hazard became evident. This guy has been writing about this since 2001. Remember this, okay, since 2001. So this is almost 20 years back. So when the 9/11 crisis happened, this guy has been talking about this since that time. So 2008 was just a tip of the iceberg. Okay, it was nowhere even close to what we are seeing right now. I said that. I said then that the rising deficits coupled with tax cuts and artificially low interest rates was setting the stage for a financial accident. He was saying all of these things at that time itself. Okay, we got that in spades with the 2008 financial crisis. Despite its devastation, we were spared a depression familiar to the aftermath of the 1929 crash because the Fed printed a lot of new money to create a floor to underpin the economy. As I've said, this was just a patchwork that was done by Fed in 2008. It was not the real solution for the 2008 crisis. Okay, it just made sure that the crisis would just get prolonged somehow, but it never provided any solution to it. Okay, that's just the plain fact. Okay, but there is eventually a price to pay for all that money printing and others, such as famed hedge fund manager Ray Dalio voiced the same concerns. I have mentioned Ray Dalio many times in my videos, and this guy is also doing the exact same thing. Okay, there is an eventual price to pay. That's why I've been saying, like, printing more money is just going to destroy the world economy. I've also made a video where I say that Canadian currency is just becoming like toilet paper. This is the exact title of my video. Okay, go check that out. You will find out what exactly I was saying in that article. To soothe this uneasiness, the Fed assured the public that this was only a temporary policy and that as soon as the economy stabilized, they would normalize interest rates and take all of the extra money out of the system. Okay, so the Fed said in 2008 that this was a temporary policy. This was a one-time thing. Okay, this is not going to happen anytime later. Okay, but did they stop doing that? Look at this. Okay, but they never did. Right, so the Fed never stopped printing money after 2008. So 2008 was the first time that the Fed printed money, but after that it has just been on a roller coaster ride. Okay, it has just went on printing money as if there's no tomorrow. Okay, so this crisis is like 2008 multiplied by 10. Okay, that's why we are facing so much such a long a drastic change in the entire world economy. Okay, last year I wrote two articles: dancing on the edge of the Principe and gold, the unfortunate final refuge. Okay, so this guy wrote two articles last year. warning my readers that we were in near-term danger of another financial accident, saying, so what might trigger the next crisis, and why won't we have the tools we had in 2008 to prevent a total collapse? Okay, so what this guy is saying is that he wrote these two articles pointing out why we would not come out of the next financial crisis very easily as we did in 2008. Okay, the next crisis can start out of nowhere. It can be triggered by a failure of the financial institution, like like we had the Lehman Brothers crisis, right? So just one financial bank, which was too big to fail, literally brought down the entire world economy. A made at home political crisis. I mean, definitely US has a made at home political crisis. Trump is just saying it out loud. He's just going to get re-elected by 2020, and there is no doubt that US is going through a major political upheaval right now, and or a serious geopolitical event. Okay, so a serious geopolitical event is just a coronavirus crisis that we are going through right now. Anything that removes the cloak of confidence that the entire financial system is based on. So this is very important statement. Just look at this. Okay, anything that removes the cloak of confidence that the entire financial system is based on. So this is just a cloak of confidence. Okay, this is just like a fake air that you are putting inside the balloon, so that the balloon just keeps on inflating. That's why the stock markets are going up when everything else is going down, right? So I've made video about this, where I say that why I think the stock market is rigged, and this is exactly why I think that is very true. So the cloak of confidence. Just imagine this, okay? Cloak of confidence that the entire financial system is based on. So it is just a fake confidence. It is not a real confidence. That's what this guy is saying out in the open. I would have never guessed a pandemic would be the trigger event. Okay, he's saying that he never thought that pandemic would really be the trigger event for such a kind of global collapse. But the cause was never the point. It was bound to be something. So as I've said, people are blaming this coronavirus pandemic for the world markets coming down, but that is not true. Okay, if it was not a pandemic, then it would have been something else. But the pandemic is just an excuse that people are giving so that they can push the blame to somebody else. But the pandemic is just an excuse. It is not something that has brought down the world markets. What has brought down the world markets is the entire mismanagement of the world economy by the central banks. Okay, the response by the US government in 2008 set us up for the next crisis. Look at this. The response by the US government in 2008 set us up for the next crisis. Okay, so the 2008 crisis was just a primer. It was just a trailer, and then the real picture is now what you're seeing in the world economy. Okay, specifically quantitative easing and other policy measures continued beyond the point at which stability was reached. Okay, so look at this. What he's saying is that quantitative easing and other policy measures continued beyond the point at which stability was reached. Okay, so beyond the point at which stability was reached, all of these things were going on. Okay, so now it has gone beyond any kind of notion of stability. Okay, the effect was to create overrated markets and render the traditional tools for influencing monetary policy ineffective. Okay, overrated markets, what does that mean, right? I have said, like, stock markets are just rigged. Okay, they are just trying to inflate the stock market somehow. So that's why he sees overrated markets. Okay, exactly why what I've been saying so far in my videos. We were destined to be in trouble once the next crisis came. So we were destined to be in trouble once any other crisis came. Okay, not just the COVID-19 crisis, but any other crisis that came, we were destined to be in trouble because of that. So just look at this. Okay, cue the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, so now, as I will not go through much of these, but all he's saying is that once the COVID-19 pandemic ends, okay, this crisis is not going to go away very soon. Okay, because this has been in making for not just the past 1 year, 2 year, 5 years, decades, or even it has been in the making for the past 70 years. Okay, since the US started its hegemonical regime over the entire world, something like this has been going on for the past 75 years, since the Second World War. Okay, I'll just go through the last few sentences over here. The US is making the same mistakes made by Argentina, Venezuela, and countless countries and empires throughout history. Okay, so the US is making the exact same mistake as many other countries have been making. Argentina, Venezuela, Zimbabwe, even the Roman Empire, the Holy Roman Empire. When the Roman Empire was collapsing, people started boiling gold. People started boiling silver. Okay, why is that? Because gold and silver were the reserve currencies at that point. Okay, that's why people lost faith in the currency of the Roman Empire, and that's why they started having faith into the reserve currencies. Okay, that's how the world works. Okay, creating a new system will not be easy. Likely it will be very messy, right? So creating a new system is definitely not going to be easy. It is going to be very messy. What that will look like is anyone's guess. So he's saying that the new system where the global reserve currency will be something else will be anyone's guess. Okay, perhaps a trading unit consisting of a basket of currencies and/or commodities. So he's saying that the new global currency will be a trading unit which consists of the basket of currencies and or commodities. So basket of currencies, what does that mean? Like the two biggest consumer markets in the world are India and China. So definitely these two countries currencies have to be in this basket of currencies and commodities. So commodities in the sense like gold, oil, or silver, or any other things. Now oil, as you know, I've made videos about these. Oil's price is literally going negative at this point, so you cannot have oil in this kind of global currency. But definitely gold. Look at the last statement in this article. And of course the only currency that has survived throughout the millennia, gold. So the only currency that has survived throughout the millennia, throughout the history of mankind, is gold. Okay, gold is something that people have trusted for millennia and millennia, for centuries and centuries, for as long as humankind was surviving. Gold was something that was a reserve currency where people believed in it. Okay, so as I've been saying in my previous videos, I've made many financial videos about world economy, geopolitics, India's role in the world economy, then macroeconomics. I've covered all these articles in all my videos. Please don't forget to check out all my videos to gain understanding of what exactly we are heading to in this kind of global financial collapse. Okay, so the US dollar has had its very good run. Okay, so the past 100 years it has been the global currency of the world. Now it's time to just hand over the mantle to some other currency. So you recently saw, right, the Bitcoin halving took place, right? And Bitcoin has surged after that. So Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency. Okay, it's not beholden to any central bank. But people are losing faith in the US dollar. That's why they're just trusting a currency which is just a cryptocurrency. Okay, which is not even beholden to any sort of central bank or government or anything. Okay, so people are trusting that over the US dollar. So just imagine the kind of devaluation of the US dollar that has happened because the Fed has been printing money is just starting at this point. And people will start trusting the gold, because gold has been in the world markets for long time. Okay, so gold will ultimately be the reserve currency in the entire world. If you know specifically, the US dollar was backed by gold reserves. Okay, before the gold standard was abolished by, I think, Franklin Roosevelt, right? So gold standard was abolished, and after that the dollar just became free float at that point. Okay, so now the Fed can just print money out of thin air, and it can just make sure that the money is just pumped into the world economy as if there's no tomorrow. But they don't have, the US central bank does not have the kind of gold to back up that money. Okay, that's exactly what I mean. When you just abolish the gold standard and when you print money as if there's no tomorrow, you are setting yourself up for a disaster. Okay, and that's exactly what is happening right now. So this is not something that has been, as I've said, this is not something that is just 1 to 2 years back. Okay, this has been happening for decades and decades. So people usually blame Trump for everything, but this is not Trump's fault. Okay, the decline of the American empire has been going on since 2001. Okay, as this guy is saying right now in this article. Okay, so this has been going on for long time, and it's high time that US just stops bullying the entire world with its global currency and blackmailing the entire world with the so-called American exceptionalism. So it is really high time that America literally just finds its place in the world, where America is just a normal country as any other country. Okay, it's not like a very big country, it's not like a global power. It had its status of a superpower for so long, but now it just has to hand over the mantle to India and China. Okay, so that's just how the world works. Why India and China? Because these two are the biggest consumer markets in the world. India will surpass America by 2030 in terms of purchasing power parity, GDP ranking. Okay, India is a very dynamic society. Even China has surpassed America right now in terms of PPP ranking, GDP PPP ranking. China is right now ahead of America. Okay, so these two countries are the future. The future is Asian. Okay, the Western economies are collapsing as if there's no tomorrow. They have been printing money, let it be Britain or France or Germany or Spain or Italy or Canada or America or Australia or New Zealand. All of them have just been printing money, okay? But who is going to pay for that? They are just becoming debt nations, okay? And the debt to GDP ratio is just going to explode if these countries just stop, if these countries don't stop printing money, okay? And that's exactly what all of these countries are doing. Why? Because they just want to keep the 1% happy, okay? The 1% of the population that are controlling the world economy, that are controlling the stock markets, they just want to keep them happy. That's why they're printing money, okay? Right now I heard news saying that Paris and London have started reopening their cities, but people are gathering very densely into the metro stations in London and Paris, okay? Why? Because people, if they don't go to work, they will not have food to eat, okay? That's why people are just going to those kind of places. But the economy is, what the government is doing, it is bailing out the corporations, it is bailing out the 1%, it is not bailing out the small guy, okay? So this is exactly what I've been talking about in my videos so far. If you liked my analysis of this article, please check out my earlier videos, because I've been talking about these things for since I started my channel. So you really don't want to miss out on any of that. So I'll stop talking here. If you like my analysis of this article, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, as I upload these kind of geopolitical news on a daily basis. You really don't want to miss out on any of that. And also like, comment and share this video. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye bye.